There's a point where everything you've understood up to now stops being theoretical. Not because the ideas change, but because they start demanding something from you. This is chapter 13 of the Corpus Hermeticum, on Rebirth. If you've been following the series, you already know this builds chapter by chapter. So if you want the full structure, follow the channel and go back through it properly. This isn't designed to be watched once. It's designed to be returned to. Now, this chapter is different. Up to this point, everything has been about structure. What appears, what underlies it, thought, mind, no division, the common mind. All of it has been laid out clearly. This chapter doesn't add to that. It turns it inward, because understanding the structure is one thing, but remaining within it is something else entirely. This is where rebirth comes in, not as something symbolic, not as something that happens over time, but as a shift in position, a complete reorientation. Because if what has been described so far is actually recognized, then the way you are holding reality cannot stay the same. Something has to give. And what gives is not the world. It's how it's being held. This is what the text calls rebirth. Not becoming something new, but no longer holding what was false as though it were true. This is where most people stop. Because up to now, you can listen, you can understand, you can agree, but this part requires something else. It requires letting go of the position you've been holding without realizing it. And that's where the difficulty is. Because what you're letting go of doesn't feel false. It feels like you. This is where the chapter begins. Not with explanation, but with a demand. Not to learn something new, but to stop holding what was never correct to begin with. And that's where the text moves next. Once the idea of rebirth is introduced, it has to be stripped of everything it is usually associated with. Because almost every interpretation of it places it in time. Something that happens later. Something that is worked toward. Something that is achieved after a process. The text does not support this. Rebirth is not something that unfolds. It is a shift. Not gradual. Not partial. A complete change in position. This is what must be held clearly. Because if rebirth is treated as a process, it becomes something that can be approached through effort, something that can be accumulated, something that can be built over time. But everything established up to this point already removes that possibility. What is true does not come into being. What underlies everything does not change. Mind does not develop. It is already present. So rebirth cannot be the creation of something new. It cannot be becoming something that was not there before. It must be the removal of what was never correct. This is why it feels immediate. Because nothing new is being added. Something is being dropped. This is what defines the shift. Not movement towards something, but release from something. What is released is the position that has been held unconsciously, the identification with what appears, the assumption that perception is sufficient, the belief that thought, as it operates through sense, defines reality. All of this has already been shown to be incomplete. Rebirth is what happens when that is no longer held, not replaced, removed. This is why it is not gradual. Because the structure that has been described does not support partial alignment. Either thought is grounded in what appears, or it is aligned with what underlies it. There is no stable middle position. This is where the difficulty arises. Because what is being released is not something external. It is the way everything has been held. It is the position that has defined what feels real. This is why rebirth is not experienced as gain. It is experienced as loss. Not loss of what is, but loss of what was assumed to be. This is what makes it difficult to accept. Because what is being removed feels familiar. It feels stable. It feels like the foundation of everything. But it has already been shown to be incomplete. Rebirth is simply the point where that is no longer ignored. This is why it cannot be approached as an idea. It cannot be understood in the same way as the earlier chapters, because it is not describing structure. It is describing a shift in position within that structure. This is where the chapter begins to move more directly. Because once rebirth is understood in this way, the question is no longer what it means. The question becomes what is still being held that prevents it. And that is where the text moves next. Once rebirth is understood as a shift rather than a process, the next question becomes unavoidable. What is still being held that prevents it? Because nothing new needs to be added. What has been described already exists. What underlies everything is already present. Mind is already the condition. So the only thing that can prevent rebirth is what is still being maintained. This is where the text becomes direct. Because what must be left behind is not external. It is not a set of behaviors. It is not a collection of actions. It is not something that can be adjusted gradually. It is the position itself, the identification with what appears, the assumption that what is perceived is sufficient, the belief that thought, when grounded in sense, defines what is real. All of this has already been shown to be incomplete, but being shown is not the same as being released. Because what is being held is not always recognized. It operates as the background, as the default position, as the way everything has always been interpreted. This is why it does not feel like something that can be left behind. It feels like the only position available. This is what makes the shift difficult. Not because it is complex, but because it requires seeing something that has never been questioned. This is what must be left behind. Not the world, not experience, but the way experience is being held. This includes the attachment to perception as final, the reliance on thought that does not move beyond sense, the assumption that individuality defines the structure of reality. All of these positions have already been examined. They have been shown to be partial, but they remain active. They continue to shape understanding. This is what must be released, not through effort, not through gradual change, but through recognition. Recognition that what is being held is not correct, not in the sense of being wrong within its own level, but in the sense of being incomplete. This is what allows it to be dropped, because once it is seen clearly, it no longer holds in the same way. This is what defines the shift. Not force, not replacement, but the inability to continue holding what is no longer seen as sufficient. This is where rebirth begins to take form, not as something that is done, but as something that happens when what was being held can no longer be maintained. From this point, the text moves toward what remains once this position is released, and how the structure that has been described becomes direct rather than conceptual. Because once what was false is no longer held, what remains is not something new. It is what was always there. And that is where the treatise continues. Once what was being held is no longer maintained, the question shifts again. Not toward what is gained, but toward what remains. Because nothing new has been introduced, nothing has been added. The structure that has been described was already present. What changes is that it is no longer being distorted. This is what must be understood. Rebirth does not create a new condition. It reveals what was already there without interference. What remains is what does not change, what underlies everything that appears, what allows perception, what allows thought, what allows knowing. This has already been established. What is different now is not its presence, but its recognition. It is no longer an idea. It is no longer something that is understood conceptually. It is what is directly held. This is where the earlier distinctions begin to collapse into something simpler. The separation between thought and what underlies it is no longer active. Thought no longer moves independently. It is no longer grounded in sense. It no longer treats what appears as sufficient. This does not remove thought, it repositions it. The same applies to perception. What appears continues to appear. Forms remain. Variation remains. Nothing about the world of appearance is removed. This is important, because rebirth is often misunderstood as withdrawal, as moving away from what appears. The text does not support this. What appears is not rejected. It is no longer treated as foundation. This is the difference. What remains is clarity. Not clarity as an idea, but clarity as position. The structure is no longer being misinterpreted. What changes is held as dependent. What does not change is recognized as foundational. This is what remains. There is no need to construct it. No need to maintain it through effort, because it does not depend on conditions. This is why the shift is described as immediate. Not because it happens quickly, but because it does not involve process. What is already present is simply no longer obscured. This is what must be held, because there is a tendency to try to recreate what has been described, to turn it into something that can be repeated, something that can be controlled. This returns it to process, which is not where it belongs. What remains does not need to be managed. It needs to not be replaced. This is where the structure stabilizes. Not through effort, but through the absence of distortion. From this point, the text moves toward how this position is maintained and why the shift does not remove the possibility of returning to the earlier way of holding things. Because what has been released can still be taken up again. And that is where the treatise continues. Once the shift has occurred, there is a tendency to assume that it will remain. That once something has been seen clearly, it cannot be unseen. That once what was false has been released, it cannot return. The text does not support this, because what underlies everything does not change, but the way it is held can. This is the distinction that must be understood. Rebirth is not a permanent state. It is a position, and that position can shift, not because what is changes, but because thought can return to its earlier alignment. It can begin again to ground itself in sense, to treat what appears as sufficient, to rebuild the same structure that has already been shown to be incomplete. This does not happen suddenly. It happens gradually, through familiarity, through habit, through the pull of what is immediate. Perception continues to operate. It continues to present what appears as though it were complete. And because it functions, it is trusted. This is what allows the earlier structure to return. Not through contradiction, but through repetition. The same assumptions begin to reassert themselves. What is seen becomes what is taken as real. What is not seen becomes less immediate. The relationship that was once clear begins to fade. This is why the shift does not hold automatically, not because it is unstable, but because what distorts it remains active. This is where clarity must remain. Not as effort, but as recognition. Recognition of when thought begins to move again towards sense as foundation. Recognition of when what appears is being treated as complete. Recognition of when the structure is narrowing. This recognition is what prevents the return. Not control, not resistance, but seeing clearly what is happening as it happens. This is what allows the position to remain, not by holding onto something, but by not replacing it. This is where the earlier structures must remain present. What appears is not self-sufficient. What changes depends on what does not. Mind is the condition. These are not ideas to return to. They are what prevent the return to misalignment. This is why the text is precise here. It does not describe rebirth as an end. It describes it as a shift that must be recognized continuously. Not because it is fragile, but because what distorts it is persistent. From this point, the text moves toward its conclusion, not to introduce something new, but to restate everything in its most direct form. Because once rebirth has been understood, the only thing that remains is to hold that position without returning to what was left behind. And that is where the treatise comes to its conclusion. By the conclusion of this 13th treatise, nothing new has been added to the structure. Everything that has been described across the earlier chapters remains exactly as it was. What has changed is the position from which it is held. Rebirth is not the introduction of something new. It is the removal of what was never correct. What appears has not changed. Forms remain. Experience continues. Thought still operates. Perception still presents what is immediate. None of this has been removed. What has been removed is the assumption that any of it is self-sufficient. This is what defines the shift. Not a change in reality, but a change in how reality is held. This is why rebirth cannot be understood as a process. It does not unfold over time. It does not move from one state to another. It is the point at which what was being maintained can no longer be held. What remains is what was always present, what does not change, what underlies everything that appears, what allows perception, thought, and knowing. This has already been established. This chapter does not redefine it. It makes it direct. This is why it does not feel like gain. It feels like loss, because what is being removed was being held as real. It was being treated as foundation. And once that is no longer possible, something familiar disappears. Not in reality, but in interpretation. This is what creates the sense of shift. Not movement towards something, but release from something. This is where the structure must be held clearly. Because the tendency is to try to stabilize this as a state, to treat it as something that can be maintained through effort, something that can be repeated or recreated. This returns it to process, which is not where it belongs. What remains does not need to be maintained. It needs to not be replaced. This is the distinction, because what distorts it remains active. Perception continues. Thought continues. Attention continues to move toward what is immediate. Without recognition, the earlier position can return. This is why the text does not end with resolution. It ends with a condition. A condition in which what has been seen must remain clear, not through effort, but through not returning to what has already been shown to be incomplete. This is what defines rebirth within this structure. Not something that happens once, but something that is recognized whenever what is false is no longer held. From this position, the movement of the Corpus Hermeticum continues, not by adding something new, but by returning again and again to what has already been revealed, each time requiring that it is held without distortion. Because once rebirth has been understood, the task is no longer to reach it. It is to not replace it. And that is the only way the structure remains intact.